impressive. All the years at the Angels, despite never making the postseason, he was always doing special things, and here he is with the Dodgers and doing more special things. It could be something as simple as like furthest home run ever, right? Hit or something, or now he's doing the stolen bases. Now he's hitting most home runs in a Dodger uniform. It's really outstanding what he's doing, and I think we should all make sure we're cherishing it for sure.
Yeah, it's a once-in-a-lifetime moment. First one ever to have 50 steals and 50 home runs. He's at 51 right now. The 51 homers represents the most homers by a Dodger in a single season. Just a phenomenal performance by Shohei today in a win over Miami. All right, let's get to high school sports. It's all about high school football. We're going to talk about Oak Hills football. They're out in Hesperia. They're 4-0. Robert Metger, their fine coach, is going to join us in a little bit. His great running back, Karson Cox, is going to go to UCLA. He'll be with us as well. But let's start, as we normally do, with Mater Dei. Mater Dei, the number one ranked team in the country, went to Hawaii to take on Kahuku, and Mater Dei easily prevailed in this game, 38-7. Tarek, not a great surprise.
Not surprising at all. Again, remember, this is a team that knocked off St. John Bosco last year, and last year, St. John Bosco was the defending national champion. So that was a big headline. And I always say it, Jason Negro of St. John Bosco always says, hey, Kahuku wasn't afraid to play us, and look what happened. We lost. But Mater Dei made sure that did not happen to them, and they're still unbeaten.
I know you did a little bit of a column on Dash Byerly, the fine quarterback in Mater Dei. He throws 2 touchdowns in this game.
Yeah, I think there's an art to not doing too much, and that's what Dash Byerly is doing. I don't think he's this like all-time great quarterback. I mentioned that in my piece, but he doesn't turn it over. He's calculated. He runs a good offense, and it's very much part of a recipe that could end up in a mythical national championship for the Monarchs.
Yeah, they're undefeated. They're very good. And Dash, by the way, is committed to Washington. Next game we want to talk about is St. John Bosco. They just seemingly roll along. This is, in a way, a rebuilding year. They're a very young football team. But 56-16 over Serra of San Mateo. We always mention it. It's Brady's school, Tom Brady's school. But this is a football team. Bosco making plays.
Yeah, pick 6 here for St. John Bosco. They're a dominant team, and I wrote a piece on them earlier this year about how there's the notion that they're down, but no, we just don't know about their household names, and that's what they're forging. They got a bunch of sophomores and juniors that we're going to know about in the coming years, one being Madden Williams, who's pretty much turned himself into a household name because of the great weeks he's had the last couple Friday nights.
And Matai Fuiava, the quarterback's making up for lost ground. He's having big games each and every week throwing the football. Jay Serra is another team that's playing very well. I like these intersectional games. Jay Serra went to San Diego. That's a good Lincoln program. The quarterback of the Lions, Ryan Hopkins, he seems to be getting it done every week with his feet. Long runs.
Yeah, this is by far the breakout player of the year right now in the CAF Southern section. Oscar Rios has a good. I know that's your guy.
I love Oscar Rios. Yeah,
Downey High. Yeah. But man, Ryan Hopkins. This is a Jay Serra team that had a quarterback named Michael Tollefson, and he was ready to come back, and they were going to have a returning senior quarterback, and he transferred out. So Ryan Hopkins, who is he? Well, he's basically their best player. So Jay Serra looking good with Ryan Hopkins under center.
Speaking of looking good, a bounce-back week for Bishop Gorman. Remember, they lost to Mater Dei. They went undefeated last year. Won a whole bunch of games. I think it was 27 before that was snapped by the Monarchs. Here they come back, beat Orange Lutheran, who actually led early in the game, but Gorman is really good.
The Lancers did score on their opening possession, and you thought, wait a minute, could this be a tight game? And I want to say Gorman was winning 28-7 at one point, scored 28 unanswered points. I just didn't see the Gales losing 2 games in a row, Randy, and it didn't happen. So they're right back on.
And they're really tough when they're at home in Las Vegas. All right, another one is, this is a great game. Bishop Amat and Vista Murrieta. Final score here, you can see 47-42. Frankie lit it up. Villabazo with 6 touchdown aerials.
Yeah, this was a game. Bishop Amat was up big, like 2 or 3 scores. Then it was tight. Vista Murrieta pulled, and then Amat again pulled away. And then Murrieta made it a close game again. So it was kind of this tug of war back and forth. But good for the Lancers, coming off a bye week and a loss to St. Paul, which kind of rattled things in the San Gabriel Valley. But the Lancers bounced back with a nice win.
A little later in the program, we'll have top performances. And in this next game, this is a performance that certainly could have been in that top performance category. Diego Montes of Kennedy High School out in Granada Hills in the rivalry game against the Highlanders The guy throws for 202 yards and 2 touchdowns. He runs for 209 more and 4 more scores. He counts for 6 TDs.
Yeah, he had 400 all-purpose yards, 400 plus all-purpose yards, which is really a remarkable feat. And Kennedy, that's a game right there that tells me they're ready for city section Division I run, right? You know, there's those litmus test games, those step-up games. And for the Cougars, that was the game for them. So for them to pull it off and have a star-studded performance from Montez tells me that they're ready to roll.
Inglewood up big here, beating St. Bonaventure 47-7. Of course, St. Bonaventure is the next opponent for Oak Hills. Inglewood's got a nice program.
Yeah, they're 4-0, and they are looking good. I tell you what, the Sentinels are a very, very talented team. Their quarterbacks, Kingston Tisdale, I don't know if that rings a bell, Birmingham quarterback that won city section championships for the Patriots. So now he's at Inglewood, and they're rolling. So it's a team to keep an eye on.
We're going to talk a lot about Oaks Christian later in the show because they're playing right now against J. Sarah, and they are ahead. The last we heard it was 10-0 after 3 quarters. But last week they were beaten by Santa Margarita handily, 37-17. That quarterback, John Gazaniga, 293 yards, 3 touchdowns for the Eagles.
Yeah, he really talented quarterback, like 6'7", and listen, when you're that tall, it's not hard to find Trent Mosley, Randy. That's the star-studded player that was the Trinity League MVP last year from Santa Margarita. So the Eagles, remember, let's not forget, they got thumped early in the year by Mission Viejo, and they've won 3 straight, including a win over Corona Centennial. So they're clearly catching a groove.
A lot of people are going to get thumped by Mission Viejo. They're ranked number 3 right now, and really a great football team. Having a great year is Oak Hills, the Bulldogs, out in Hesperia. We really don't talk Hesperia football about that league out there, the Mojave River League. Well, we're going to find out about it because we have the coach of the Bulldog football team and a star running back, Karson Cox. Of course, the coach is Robert Metger. Gentlemen, welcome to our show, SoCal Prep Report. Great to have you aboard.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having us.
All right, Coach, 4-0. You have to love the start. Tell us a little bit about your football team and why you're so successful. I know you've been good in the past.
Yeah, you know, we've been good in the past, and one thing we focus on is the culture of the program. You know, we build a brotherhood here, and each kid just plays for each other, and it's just a very great group of kids we have. Pleasure of coaching.
Karson, for you, I'd imagine you keep up with high school football. You know about the other recruits such as yourself, the Trinity League teams down here in Los Angeles. But out in Hesperia, Oak Hills has a pretty good team too. When you're playing football and scoring all those touchdowns, are you almost is there an aspect of you trying to put the program on the map a little bit? You want people to recognize you guys play good football.
So first person who really put the high desert on the map, I would say, was Pocky Fanal. He's at University of Washington, and we really had a deep conversation about putting the high desert on the map, especially Oak Hills, knowing like a lot of kids drive from Hesperia, the high desert area, down the hill to go to other schools when they should really just stay local and play for their local schools.
Karson, I know you're going to UCLA, but I want to work on your workout regimen. I know you go to Apple Valley, which isn't all that far, but we don't know how far it is really from Hesperia because we're a long way from you. Tell us about how you work out and what you do in Apple Valley to stay in shape in the off season and maybe during the season.
So during the summer, I always go to Apple Valley almost every week. You know, I try to go out there, get explosive. It really helps with my explosiveness. So you watch my film, you see how explosive I get through in and out the holes. So I always go through there, jumps, running full speed, going all the way to the top, backpedaling, turning and burning. I just do a lot. Apple Valley that hill is great if you can take advantage of it.
Coach, for you, it seems like you guys know you're at a point where you got to test yourself during the season. Got to get ready for the playoffs because you know you're going to see some high-quality opponents. You got St. Bonaventure, which seems to be a program that you've faced the last 3 years and is a good test for your program. Would you agree with that? And are you trying to schedule more St. Bonaventure-esque teams, even if it means traveling, to prepare your team for the postseason?
Correct. Yeah. You know, St. Bonaventure's a well-known program in California. Coach G over there does a great job with them. Very physical, very well-coached team. You know, that's why we picked up Beaumont the last minute like we could. Jeff Steinberg's always going to have his programs ready also and put us to the test.
Speaking of Beaumont, Cameron Cox ran for 201 yards and 3 touchdowns in a win over Beaumont last week. Cameron, what was that like, having holes to run through, cruising over 200 yards and scoring 3 touchdowns? It had to be a fun game for you.
Oh, man, I had the most fun that game ever. I mean, I give all props to alignment. I know a lot of skills, like running backs get off like the glimmer and glams, of the rushing yards, touchdowns, and everything. But I really give it all to alignment and the whole coaching staff that works with the alignment.
Karson, for those that don't know, describe your game a little bit. Maybe even an NFL comp. Is there someone you watch on YouTube? Give us a description of your game.
So I would say I'm an all-around back. I mean, especially this year, I've been working on receiving. If I'm one-on-one against a linebacker, I'm going to be open. I know I'm going to be open. And one person I really do look up to is Alexander Madison, because one of our coaches, Coach Monica, really was close with him and coached him. So I really looked up to his game, as well as Aaron Jones. He's just a great all-around running back, be able to break the first tackle and just go to the second level and keep going and driving the feet.
Coach, what does it mean to try to win 4 straight Mojave River League championships? Again, we don't know anything about that league. But, I mean, to win any league 4 years in a row, and that's your quest, has to be something you truly desire.
Yeah, it's just a great testament to how hard my coaching staff and the kids work. It would be just another notch on the belt for us to continue the way the program is going. So it would definitely be another feat for us to accomplish.
Karson, my last question for you is, what's the goal for Oak Hills? And you don't actually have to answer that literally. I guess my better question, I'm kind of like talking to myself here. Do you talk about those goals every day, or is there something at the end that you guys are striving for? Is it, hey, we're going to win a CIF championship, or is it, no, mum's the word, we're working on every Friday night? How is it you go about achieving whatever goals you guys have in mind?
So one thing we do preach now, we always have team meetings. So we always want to preach about that Friday. We never want to look past any opponent, no matter how good or bad we think they are. Every single team has a target on Oak Hills. So always that Friday, we just want to be our best. And then, of course, win league first, go on CIF, win every game, go get a ring, and then eventually go to state.
Coach, last year you lost a heartbreaking game to Downey. I know you want to get back in the playoffs and do well. But before I let you go, I want you to explain to the general public what makes Karson Cox a special player for you and a young man I know you truly have loved having on the football team.
Well, Karson Cox, he's just a special kid. He's a player coach. He understands the game of football. He don't ever miss practice. Seldomly comes late, and when he's there, he's tuned in to what needs to be done. He's always there cheering on his teammates. He's happy for whatever they accomplish. And, he's just a special kid. I've been coaching him since he was 12 years old in youth football. And he's the same then as he is now. Very humble. So.
Well, that's high praise for a good young man. Karson, good luck at UCLA. They could use you right now. Maybe you can roll early. Coach, best of luck tomorrow night against St. Bonaventure. Continued success. You got it rolling in Hesperia right now. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Good people, good program, and I think they got a good chance to get St. Bonaventure tomorrow night.
Off the air, there are certain programs, and I think any reporter or journalist would lie if they didn't agree with what I'm about to say. There are certain programs and storylines, I'm not going to say you fall in love with, but you adhere, you endear yourself to it because, you're like, hey, this is a program I kind of want to see do well. And that's Oak Hills for me. They're out in Hesperia. They probably don't get a whole lot of coverage. I've mentioned them on weekends on CBS. I just try and give them some love because I think they're doing it the right way. And Karson even mentioned it. He thinks that players should stick around in the neighborhood a little more and play for that program. But yet they lose players to other programs, especially the private school sector. So I commend that program for keeping kids around and winning games.
And I'm glad they came aboard because they are really good people. Okay, top performances from last week. And again, Diego Montez of Kennedy, I apologize. You should have been on this list, but we talked about you earlier. Okay, here it is. Xander Lewis, running back, Ontario Christian, over 300 yards and a couple scores.
Man, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, huh? 300 yards on the ground. I mean, if the other team still knows what's coming and can't stop you, you must be pretty good. So that's quite the day.
How about one of our guests? A couple weeks ago, Josh Griffiths was here from Monrovia. He loved being on TV, but he likes the football field more. How about another back? Griffith's going over 300.
They ended up, okay, I don't remember the score, but if I'm not mistaken, it was a tight game, and he won, I think his touchdown won the game late in that win over Don Luca. They might have been trailing, and then there was a comeback. So not only did he have a big-time performance, but he had a clutch one as well.
Troy Ta'alua of Karson. I love this. He had a couple interceptions. That's just great work, and 12 tackles in a win for the Colts. Karson, one of the best teams in the city.
Yes, they are. Karson is a very, very good team. Very curious about the city section this year. Good for Troy for making a difference on defense.
You love Brady Smigel. I know he's one of your favorite quarterbacks.
Guys,
Newberry Park. This is just another day at the office. 307 yards, 5 touchdowns. You can almost, write that down in every game.
I've said it multiple times. I got to talk to him about this. I don't even know if this maybe upsets him. I'm like, you need to get out of high school, man. There's nothing more that this level's going to do for you. That's why I always think he'll reclass and get out of
Who's the coach there?
Oh, his dad.
So he's not getting out of high school.
Oh,
That's why I say that.
I don't know about that. Hey, if he wants to stick around, Florida State might need, Carson Cox, UCLA needs Carson Cox. Well, Florida State needs Brady Smigel.
They do.
Right now.
That's true. Yeah, DJ's having some problems over there.
He is.
Uyunglele. All right, Liam Paston is not having any problems at Eagle Rock. They're an Eagles team that throws the football against a decent Roosevelt team, and he fires 6 touchdowns.
They air it out, and that, to me, is what's interesting about the city section. Now, I don't know if Eagle Rock's an open division team. They're on the cusp right there, Randy. But what I like to see about these city section teams, there's so much contrast in style of play. I saw San Pedro play last week, and they're ground and pound. Here's Eagle Rock, tossing it through the air. So I think the Narbonne tosses it through the air. Karson, a little more ground and pound. So there's different styles of play that I think make for really, really good matchups. What do they say in boxing? Styles make fights.
Yep.
I think the same thing might be happening in the city section.
Well, talking about style, Haley Weatherspoon of Eagle Rock is in our top performances. She's a young lady flag football player for Eagle Rock. She had 5 touchdowns last week. A big win against Roosevelt, same team as a doubleheader with the guys team. She had 5 touchdowns and a pick.
Yeah, that's tremendous. That's really, really a great performance. And listen, when you're impacting a game at that level, that's superstar status, so to speak. So, she's city section player of the year type caliber player.
She was last year, and she is again this year. There was an interesting city section flag football game last week.
Oh, no.
The 2 champions from last year, right? In Division I and Division II or Open. I think they called it Open in D1. Verdugo won D1. Birmingham won the Open. They played to a scoreless tie.
Unbelievable. Yeah, that's impressive. I mean, great defense and just couldn't find a way to punch it in. So, a tie. I mean, what else is there to say other than it's unfortunate, I guess?
0-0 tie. Yeah. Especially 0-0. You got to have some touchdowns on the board.
56, one thing.
That's right.
0-0 is a different story.
Speaking of flag football, the number 1 team in the country is Orange Lutheran. They're 15-0, and I know you love their quarterback, and she's a good one, McKenna Cook, and she's young. She's only a sophomore.
When I watch her play, and I think we have some footage of her, I think it's like women's flag football in college is coming. And a play like this, off the back foot, dead spiral for a touchdown, that to me, that to me shows, wait a minute, there could be something brewing. I mean, what an athlete she is. I believe she's a very, very good soccer player as well. But again, off the back foot, weighted, to the back, and able to throw a spiral to her teammate for a touchdown. That's impressive. And to me, she's got 2 more years of high school. So what's to say that women's flag football doesn't become a scholarship sport at the NCAA level? McKenna Cook could be throwing touchdowns in college.
She could be throwing touchdowns here in Los Angeles and 28 in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Because flag football is certainly going to flourish, I would imagine, get great coverage by NBC during the Olympic Games. All right, let's talk a little bit about SB Live, my friend's top 10 here in Southern Section football. No surprise, Mater Dei still ranked number 1 and deserves to be number 1. They are undefeated at 3-0. Bosco is number 2. So the 2 teams from the Trinity League. And there's Mission Viejo, who has dominated 3 straight opponents.
Not a lot of movement up here this week because a lot of teams haven't been playing each other. That'll change here in the next couple weeks when league play starts and the Trinity League team starts to clash and so on and so forth. But I was just checking my phone real quick. Gardena is losing 13-6 now in the fourth quarter. So still a one-score game and still some time left. But hey, man, the Oaks Christian Lions are putting it to Sarah, and I will be honest, I'll be the first one to eat some crow if Oaks Christian can pull off that victory because they haven't won a big game.
And the score is what right now?
13-6.
13-6 for Oaks right now. That's up. That was going to be the last thing we talked about in the show.
Well, I can.
No, that's good. We'll update it later.
About 9 minutes.
We have 8 minutes technically. All right, let's talk about the LA City section. Their top 10 from Max Preps, and this is interesting. The top 5 teams in the City section are all from the Marine League.
I know the producer of the show. I think we're going to have to change these into SB Live rankings because these just aren't.
What? I'm giving them it's Max Preps though.
No, it's all computer. It's computer. Dorsey should not be up there. Cleveland should not be up there. I'm okay with all the other guys in any mixed bag, but I think Kennedy. I have them 10 in my rankings. Eagle Rock just knocked off Roosevelt. Those are teams that have earned some quality victories in my eyes. So,
but what about the top with the
Garfield got thumped against San Pedro.
They did. They got manhandled.
Off a little bit.
Yeah. But what about all those Marine League teams?
Yeah.
You like that?
The Marine League, without question, I got no problems. Any mixed combination of those teams is totally fair.
Key games coming up this weekend. How about Hart? 3-1, opening Foothill League play at undefeated Golden Valley.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when you're talking about the Foothill League, I got to be honest, the first thing I think of with the Foothill League, Randy, is it's down, man. It's down, and it's not what it used to be. I mean, Harry Welch, your guy, Canyon, Valencia, Larry Muir, even West Ranch had a run the last couple of years. It's just not as competitive as it used to be. However, Jake Goosen over at Hart is the new head coach, and he's got things moving a little bit for Hart, so they're 3-0. That's a good storyline in that league.
Yeah, Jake Goosen, a boxing family, and they're using that boxing ability on the football field to get aggressive and win football games. I actually like Hart in that game to knock off undefeated Golden Valley. Jay Sarah undefeated at Damien tomorrow night. That's a good football game. Damien's the underdog at home.
No question they're the underdog. Damien was 3-0 and then lost a game to a tough Miracosta team. So Jay Sarah coming to town, I don't know how close that game is going to be, Randy. I think the Lions should be just fine. Remember, Ryan Hopkins is the guy that's
right.
I might have to go out there, man, and watch Ryan Hopkins play tomorrow night. I don't really know where I'm going tomorrow, by the way.
How about Cathedral with Jaden Jefferson, their quarterback? They're really looking good. They're 4-0. Narbonne, a top city team. This is not an easy assignment for the Gauchos.
Cathedral Phantoms is my pick to win the Angeles League. Listen, this is a team that beat Loyola early in the year, 16-13. They played some nice opponents, and they've come out victorious. Obviously, they're unbeaten. I think they'll beat Narbonne. They're probably just going to have a little more class than the Gauchos, but all that's doing is getting the Narbonne Gauchos more prepared for the Open Division City Section playoffs.
How about St. Francis Academy out of Baltimore, Maryland, at Mater Dei? Now, St. Francis, don't be deceived by the 2-2 record. They're playing a national schedule. Yeah. They're playing real teams.
No,
but this is a game Mater Dei should win.
They travel all over the place, and they had, I believe, Olu on the ropes 2 weeks
ago. They lost 15-13?
Correct. It was like less than a field goal difference. So they are very, very capable. All that to say, Monarchs moved to 4-0.
Okay, they're gone now. They're offline. So let's talk about the Oak Hills game tomorrow against St. Bonaventure. We just talked to the coach, Robert Metger, and obviously his brilliant running back, Karson Cox, who is a great football player. I like Oak Hills in this game.
Yeah, I previewed this game earlier this week. I like Oak Hills as well.
Yeah.
I just think they're rolling. And St. Bonaventure losing to Inglewood, was it 41-7 or something like that?
Yeah.
That tells me that maybe St. Bonnie isn't quite what they've been the last couple of years. And, that's on me. I should have called Coach Joey Ganeshi, but to ask him about why it was so lopsided. Maybe they were missing a player or two that they get back for this game. I don't know, but that's pretty lopsided.
Oak Hills has won 2 of the 3 meetings between the two, so they got that going for them as well. Orange Lutheran and Sierra Canyon. This is a really good matchup. These are 2 quality football teams, 7 o'clock Saturday night. Olu trying to bounce back from the loss to Bishop Gorman.
If you're someone that resides in the San Fernando Valley, I got the perfect Saturday for you. Michigan USC at 12:30. Relax a little, grab a bite to eat, chill, head to Sierra Canyon for this great game on Saturday evening. I think that's a good Saturday for most people. No?
It's a great Saturday, but who do you like in the game?
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, I got off track there. Yeah, give me Olu. Give me Olu.
Really?
Yeah, I actually went back and forth a little bit with John Ellinghouse the other night. He didn't like that I pick against the Trailblazers. John Ellinghouse is my guy, but Sierra Canyon...
What would a third loss mean for the Trailblazers?
Not honestly, not a lot. I still think they're... Listen, if they can... okay. Well, it's a good question. Let's say they lose a third game, but then they go unbeaten in the Mission League.
Still in D1 playoffs.
There you go. They're in Division I. So I don't think it does a whole lot. I think them playing a tough game against St. John Bosco last week was a really good, maybe 2 weeks ago. It wasn't 2 weeks ago. Was a good indicator of where they can play, what kind of football they can play. Sierra Canyon, give me 15 more seconds on this. Sierra Canyon has scheduled really, really good opponents the last half dozen years, 5 years. They've beaten some, like the J. Sarahs. They beat Olu last year, but Olu wasn't at full strength. When they play like Centennial, Servite, Mission Viejo, and this Orange Lutheran team gives me that level of football, they come up a little short. So that's why I pick the Lancers for this game.
I like T.J. Lateef. He's a great quarterback at Orange Lutheran. I also like Wyatt Beckert. He's the fine quarterback at Sierra Canyon. I just have a feeling that the Trailblazers may get him this time.
Okay.
I'm
not mad at that.
I think it's going to be that's a great matchup. That is a terrific high school football game. Last game we want to talk about is a game that's going on right now. Last we had it at 13-6. It's in the fourth quarter, as you can see. I know this is a surprise to Tarek Fatal. I know Jimmy Butler's a fine quarterback. You're checking his phone right now. Jimmy Butler's a fine quarterback. He did relinquish a pick 6 in this game, and that really is the difference in the game. Jimmy Butler's the quarterback at Sarah.
I think Oaks Christian's going to win. I just see a tweet, turnover by Sarah. Oaks Christian has the ball back, and it's 1st and goal with 2 minutes to go. That's how the game ends. Okay, Oaks Christian won, final, 13-6.
Good. That's a good update.
So the Lions won.
That's a good update by Tarek Fatal. That's good.
Yeah, Sack ended the game. That's what I'm seeing on Twitter. So.
Yeah, well, you picked.
I did.
Against Sarah. I said
No, I picked
you picked Sarah. I picked against Sarah. I thought Oaks could win that game.
You know, hey, just to let you know.
I got one.
Big bad Eric Sonheimer picked Sarah to win the game too.
He did? You know, he went to the game.
I know. That's the tweet I'm reading.
You know, he actually called me on the way to the game, and he was sad that I wasn't going. I go, Eric, I got a TV.
Wow. I didn't know Eric had feelings.
He has feelings.
Oh.
So how big a win is this for Oaks? What does that do for their season?
That's a big win. That's a big win. I mean, if people that watch that film can now see there's something to Sarah that can be cracked. They can crack the code a little bit. That's a big win for Oaks. I would argue that's their biggest win since Jim Bankert was the coach and they had Kayvon Thibodeau and those guys.
Does that take them to D1 or are they still at D2?
No.
D2.
No.
We don't want to go
overboard. I don't see them in Division I. Unless Division I 16 teams. Now they could get pulled in.
Okay.
But it's been 12 the last 2 years.
I still think now with this win, if they run their league, which is the more money, if they run that league, they're on the cusp. I'm not saying they're going to get in, but they're close.
High seed in Division II. Again, now if it goes 16 teams in Division I, then you might then they might go D1. They might go D1.
Fast show.
Why not, man? Let's go another 5 minutes.
Probably more balls going over ahead from Shohei Ohtani.
Who cares about programming? Let's keep going.
You want to keep going? You want to talk about other games?
I'm kidding. Well, no, I think we'll get yelled at.
Well, I get yelled at all the time. You're the only one that's nice to me. I appreciate it.
I'm a nice guy.
That's going to wrap it up. We want to again thank our friends from, where were they from? It's your favorite town.
Oak Hills.
There you go.
Hesperia.
And it's where? Hesperia.
Come on, man.
I know that.
River Valley League.
American River Valley League.
Oh, is it American River Valley League? Is it really?
I think it is. Okay. That was fun.
Yeah,
We're
good
done
show.
Tonight. We'll see you next week right here on SoCal. Is it the American River Valley?
I didn't know.
No, it's the Mojave.
Oh, that's what it is.
The Mojave River Valley League.
Mojave, American.
National.
I could, I could
somewhere
see there's some ties
in the middle
there.